Hi, good evening, everyone. Am I audible? I'm looking at the chat screen. Kindly let me know if I'm audible. YouTube पे जो भी हैं. Okay, I guess. Yes, I'm audible now. So I decided to have this session before prelims so that I can speak to you as exclusively who are targeting next year. Of course, after prelims, many of the students will come who will be targeting this year. So just so for that reason, I thought that maybe I should speak to you exclusively because your concerns may be a bit different with respect to preparation of ethics. And for that, I requested Nandana also that should be joining us in few minutes, and then we will hear from her also that how well one can prepare ethics paper. And this was her first mains. In her first mains only, she scored very good marks in ethics, that is 128. So we will listen from her also that how she prepared for ethics paper and how she got that great marks. So but before we listen from her, I think it is imperative that we look at the ethics paper that came last year, that is 2024 ethics paper, that what we can learn from last year's ethics paper, because UPSC previous year questions are Bible for us, and we need to follow those guidelines. We need to understand that what kind of paper UPSC is asking. So let me just present the PPT before you so that we can learn some insights from the kind of question that UPSC asked last year. Yeah, I think I will be changing a slide now. So one of the important trend that we can see from previous year question, from 2024 is that UPSC again emphasized the ethics paper demand conceptual clarity. It is actually difficult to get good marks in ethics because the type of questions that are being asked in ethics paper are a bit abstract in nature. So when we look at the question, we need to understand that from which part of the syllabus the question has come. For instance, you take the case of this question: in law, a man is guilty when he violates the right of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only think of doing so. Now, this sort of question require conceptual clarity, that we must understand that we are following the law, not just for the that we are fearing the consequence of not following the law, that I'm following the traffic light because I'm fearing fines in case I violate the traffic light. I should follow the traffic light because for the respect of traffic light, for the respect of traffic law. That is what the question essentially is highlighting. The intention, what is your intention behind following the ethics? Because all of us know Kant was a deontologist. He would not think of the consequence when you are taking action. So a man is guilty when he violates the right of others. In ethics, he is guilty if you only think of doing so. So just because in any of the case, if we think wrong of other people, we are violating their rights. We are violating their human rights. If I think of ill, if I think ill of anyone from weaker section, I'm violating their rights, even though I'm not committing that crime in reality. So basically, again, this question specifically asks on that respect for moral law. We should follow the moral law for the respect of moral law. Similarly, look at the next question. If we look at the question, it seems plain very simple question, that it is simply asking you that the concept of just and unjust is contextual, and the changing context should be constantly under scrutiny to prevent miscarriage of justice. So one way to look at this question is simply to dump examples, that what was just earlier. For example, you speak about sati, which was regarded just earlier. For example, you speak about the rudimentary form of justice, like like earlier the form of justice was that you will impute one limb of the person if someone has done something. All those things were regarded just, subdimala traditions were regarded just, and now they have become unjust because the context is changing. So this question is not just about dumping examples, that you jump the examples earlier. What was just have now become unjust, and what was unjust, for example, LGBT relationships, has now become just. Okay, so the point is, this question is not just about dumping examples. You need to just look at this line: changing context should be constantly under scrutiny. So we need to scrutinize the changing context also, that what about this context, and thereby you must link it with determinant of ethics also, that what is actually deciding rightness and wrongness of human action. Is it the concept of justice itself? Because we know that how our own concept of justice has changed. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita we have introduced, how it has changed from Indian Penal Code. The point is, what are those different parameters which are changing that constitute the context? That part must be integrated in the answer to fetch great marks in this question, because otherwise you will be simply dumping examples and examples only, and that will not tell a lot about your answer writing to the examiner. And that is why it is important that you give argument and you open up on the context as well. Similarly, you look at the mindless addiction to form, ignoring the substance of the matter. All these questions require absolute conceptual clarity. Another important thing that we can learn from last year paper is contemporary issues. Whatever is in news. For example, this year we have seen war, almost war, and all these things regarding international ethics becomes very hot topic for this year's main. Similarly, last year Bharti Nyaya Sanhita was very hot topic. Mission Karma Yogi, all these things, AI, the way it is unfolding, all these things were quite hot topic from last year's perspective, and that is why we must have a hang of contemporary issues which may be asked in ethics paper. And mind you, when you prepare all these topics, you should not just prepare it from polity and governance perspective, you should also prepare it from ethical perspective, because when you write answer in this paper, you must write ethical perspective. You must import content from the lot of philosophical thinkers, philosophies, everything that you can write, including current affair examples. So we, all of us, when we are preparing for ethics, it is important that we look at the current affairs not just from paper 2 and paper 3 perspective, but also from ethical perspective, so that when these questions come, we can score quite high marks in the actual examination hall. Another thing is that compared to 2023 ethics paper, this year's ethics paper, I would say, was a bit more complex in terms of framing of the question. You look at the first question: ethics encompasses several key dimensions that are crucial in guiding individuals and organizations towards morally responsible behavior. Now, this is the one big statement. And after that, you look at the question: explain the key dimensions of ethics that influence human action, and then further, how these dimensions shape ethical decision making, professional context. Entire, I would say, essence of ethics have been asked in this one single question. And that is why it is important that we learn how to decipher multiple layers of the question, so that we can break it down and we can generate a lot of dimensions, we can generate subheadings or different part, and then we can address the question. Similarly, look at the second question. Such a big question, it almost like a CSAT paragraph. That it is not enough to talk about peace, one must believe in it. It is not enough to believe in it, one must act upon it. In the present context, major weapon industries of the developed nations are adversely influencing continuation of number of wars for their own self-interest. Now, this particular statement have been asked earlier also by UPSC in the form of case study in terms of arms trade. And now the next question, you see, what are the ethical consideration of the powerful nation in today's international arena to stop continuation of ongoing conflict? So you see, UPSC has merged a broader theme of what should be the ethical consideration with the theme of weapon industries of the developed nation. So two important themes have been merged in a single question, and thereby it becomes difficult that which part one should highlight, which part one should give more focus upon, because the question itself is very lengthy, so many lines it is having in itself. So that is one difficult thing, I would say, from as compared to 2023 paper, the way they framed the question was a bit more complex. It was not straightforward that you will simply write down the answer. So that is another thing that we can learn from last year paper. And when we prepare for ethics, we should prepare to tackle these type of question also, because otherwise, you will be when these questions come, especially first or second questions, if they are like that, it may just shake your confidence if you are not that well prepared. So it is important that you prepare questions like this also. Then I want you to look at these three questions. Okay, let us read them together, and let us try to learn how it can help us in terms of preparing for next year. Okay, so I hope you are reading it with me. So let us try to read this question. First question: global warming and climate change are the outcomes of human greed in the name of development, indicating the direction in which extinction of organisms, including human beings, is heading towards loss of life on earth. Now, how do you put an end to this to protect life and bring equilibrium between society and environment? Now, environmental degradation, of course, it is a very hot topic, very important theme, especially from ethical perspective. But you look at the question, what is the question that is being asked? Solutions have been asked, my dear friends, because all of you are aspiring bureaucrat. You will be heading very important positions in government of India, where you will be charting out multi-dimensional solutions. They are specifically asking you how one can put an end to this to protect life and bring equilibrium solutions. Whenever we are looking at different problems, we must think of multi-dimensional solutions. Our solutions cannot just be unidimensional, that we dump the content that we are, for example, as if we are writing from GS means 3 environment. It has to be a multi-dimensional answer. Look at the next question also. Code of conduct and code of ethics are source of guidance in public administration. There is a code of conduct already in operation. However, code of ethics is not yet put in place. Now, see the question. Suggest a suitable mode of code of ethics to maintain integrity, probity, and transparency and governance. As you can see here also, your suggestions have been asked. Okay, so it is important that when we prepare ethics paper, we have solution orientation, because it is one thing to criticize things, it is another thing to provide solutions. And it will help you tremendously, not just in your ethics paper, not just in your section A, but in case studies as well. Why can't there be a question on the or the case study on the theme of environment? So when the case study on the theme of environment will come, you will write the similar kind of solutions there as well. Similarly, any essay on environment theme will demand solutions from your side. Now look at the third question. In the Indian culture and value system, an equal opportunity have been provided irrespective of gender specific challenges faced by female public servants, and suggest suitable measures to increase their efficiency. Now here also you see, suggest suitable measures to increase their efficiency. Solutions again, my dear friend. So don't just look at the themes from problem perspective, from critical perspective, also generate solutions, because it is you, my dear students, that you will be solving India's problem tomorrow when you become administrator in our country. So UPSC wants you, that you should have this governance perspective, this moral leadership perspective, where you are visionary to have solutions, and this having this solution oriented approach will help you, as I just discussed, in your case study also, in your section answer writing also, in your essay also. Okay, I often say this to my student, that do not prepare different thing in silos. Prepare a body of content and then see how you can apply that in multiple dimension, because ultimately how much you can remember. Okay, so it is important that we emphasize on huge value of information. So when you know solutions, remember to apply them in ethics also, in essay also, in case studies also, so that we can have multidimensional perspective. So now we have understood that what kind of challenges 2024 ethics paper thrown at us, and thereby what should be our approach, more or less. Some part we have got till now. Now let me just outline how we will be proceeding in this particular webinar. Now I will be inviting Nandana to share her strategy, that how she coped up with these many challenges in the ethics paper in the actual examination hall. It was her first mains, mind you, and despite that she scored great marks, that is 128 marks. But before I do that, I want you to read this particular telegram chat from Nandana. I asked her permission to share this with you. Just read this particular message from 22nd September. I think it is just few days after the ethics paper, or I think on the perhaps on the day of the ethics paper examination. You see what he has written: classes really helped. I haven't realized ethics was tough until I saw your message in the group. That's how well prepared she was, my dear student. It was her first mains, and she was that well prepared that she did not even realize that the nature of the paper was a bit tough, the language was a bit tough. And you see the next message, that is on 22nd April, that is sir rank 47. And that is that's the next message that I got. And I'm discussing this because you see the satisfaction that you have after writing mains paper will tell you lot many things about your preparation. I got similar message from Adit Srivastav on 17 September 2023 when he wrote his mains paper. Later on he got rank 1 in 2023 civil service examination, and you see the same similar kind of message that sir last year say hopefully better gap paper. That's how satisfied he was. And my dear student, that is the kind of satisfaction you should also aim for. When you finish your ethics paper, you should know that you have written your best ethics answer. And I am very, very sure God will reward you, UPSC will reward you. Now, without waiting, without making you wait any further, let me invite Nandana herself to discuss so many things we have to listen. So Nandana, can you please now join us?
Hi, sir.
Hi Nandana. Fidaramji, can you put her on screen? I think is she on screen yet? Yeah, I think she's there. So yes, Anandana. So first of all, let me, on the behalf of every aspirant out there who have joined us, congratulate you for the magnificent achievement that you have. It is stupendous feat to have that great rank in the first mains, and that speaks a lot about your hard work, your perseverance, your discipline. It's all about you. So Nandana, we got so many messages from the student. So I would just simply ask you that how did you make it happen in your first mains?
Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to tell you that regarding ethics, I have done my mains preparation well before the prelims in case of GS 1, 2, and 3. But in case of GS 4, I was feeling like I was in a kind of fog. I knew some more other things in case of ethics, but as sir has said, I didn't have conceptual clarity, or I was feeling like ethics is a paper that I cannot manage. So and even after I wrote one ethics test, I understood that the answer quality that I am having in my ethics test is not very good. So I wanted to solve that issue, and that's how I reached. That's how I saw Aditya Srivastava's papers, and eventually through his videos, I came to know about the Piyush sir's ethics module course. So I decided to join that, so that because I have worked very hard to clear prelims. I cannot spoil that chance just because I am not very prepared in ethics. So I decided to address the weak part that I had, and I attended all the classes that was provided by sir. I used to make lecture notes, and by the end of the classes, I had around 100-page note which I can revise again and again. And also, I used to write answers for the mini test so that my answer writing got better. And also, in case of ethics, I used to write every day. After the course, even after the mini test was over, I used to take the toppers copies, especially of last year toppers, and used to write these questions by my own. I used to write PYQs by my own, so that that ethics part is being addressed, and that's how eventually I scored a good mark.
So Nandana, one thing that I would like to ask you is that you just mentioned that you prepared for GS 123 before prelims quite well, but not that so good for ethics paper that you did after writing prelims only. So in terms of orientation, what are the differences that you find between preparing for GS 123 versus preparing for GS4?
Sir, in case of other GS papers, what we can do is there are specific topics that are being asked in these papers. So, in my preparation, what I did was I took the PYQs and made note for all these, and with answer writing, it got better. But in case of GS4, I was feeling like I didn't know how to prepare. So, I have made some notes for all the topics, but I felt like it's not up to the mark. So I think for GS4, as Sir has said, a conceptual clarity is needed. You need points related to the syllabus topics so that you can convince the examiner that you are well prepared. And also you need varied examples, case studies, etc., so that you can add value to that paper. So I believe for ethics, a more focused PYQ based preparation is needed compared to other papers.
So speaking about PYQ, that is something that I would say everyone emphasize, but for some reason I don't know how message is lost. So can you just reiterate the importance of PYQ and how exactly you made use of PYQs in your preparation for ethics?
Sir, in case of other papers, as I said, I made notes of PYQs. But in case of ethics, I believe more than making notes out of PYQs, because there are many code-based questions, and it is not very easy to make a note for every code that is being asked. So for ethics, what I did was I had a syllabus-based note that was based on your ethics module, and after that, I used to write the PYQs again and again. In the mini test also you used to include many previous year question papers. So I got insights from the answer keys of these mini tests also, so that I knew how to open up multiple dimensions. In case of last year's paper, there were some 3-4 parts of every question. So it was necessary that you need at least 2-3 points and 2-3 examples for every part of the question, so that the demand of the question is being addressed. So it was basically answer writing based on PYQs that helped me in ethics.
So one thing that aspirants, usually when they prepare for ethics, so what they will do, they will simply collect lot many examples, and as if examples are the end, And I think if they look at your answer script that I've shared in my Telegram channel, also they will realize that examples are not the end in itself; they are means to an end. So can you just expand on that also? That how did you manage examples, and how did you come up with different arguments?
Sir, in case of examples, I used to collect examples for every GS paper, for ethics also, from newspapers, from YouTube videos, from social media sites, from your classes. I used to highlight it apart so that I can revise it again and again, so that I can write it in the exam paper. Collecting examples merely doesn't help, because it will be kept there. If you practice these examples to be used in these papers, it will help. But I believe that more than these collection, it is this application to the answer paper that helps. And also in case of last year's paper, a varied collection of examples was required, because the question was very multi-dimensional. So even for one topic, you need multiple examples. I have, if we consider last year's paper, there were many questions that I have practiced previously, like not questions as such, but the topics asked, like the AI, like the climate change, etc. So I knew what are the examples I am writing for these questions, if at all it is asked, because I have some 10 examples for the same. So it is preparation plus answer writing that helps in these example assimilation.
Okay, so another important query that we often get from the student is how to address quotation-based question. So, what was your approach like when it comes to quotation-based question and this preparation?
Sir, initially when I was writing these quotation-based questions, I used to write whatever comes to my mind when I read this quotation. But later I felt that it is not how we should answer the quotation-based question. So after your classes, I took a very objective approach. My intention was whatever is given in the question, I have to address that. For example, if there is a question like great power comes with great responsibility, I will be breaking that question into various parts. Rather than considering it as an abstract question or a philosophical question, I made sure that I will be breaking that question into various parts. Like if great power, like one subheading would be great power comes with great responsibility. How great power comes with great responsibility? What are the issues if such a thing is happening? And if it is not asked in the question, I will write a way forward considering how we should ensure that the great power will not be misused and responsibility is ensured. And while doing that, while writing these quotation based questions, I made sure that I am inside the syllabus premise that is set by UPSC. For example, if they are using great power and great responsibility, I will be using keywords like accountability, transparency, etc. That is provided by UPSC itself in its syllabus. So that again, I am trying to communicate to the examiner that I am a person who have studied well, the syllabus is studied well, and I have examples and all for these. So I try to approach these questions very objectively rather than taking it as a philosophical topic.
Another important issue that aspirants often face while writing ethics paper is time management. We often see that they are not able to complete the paper, and sometimes they juggle in terms of allocation of time also between section A and section B. So, what was your strategy with respect to time management in ethics paper? How did you manage the time?
Sir, I remember one day you saying us in the class that do not to compromise the section A for section B, because what many people do is that, because in case of case studies we all have something to write, because a premise is set by UPSC, so we can easily fill 4 or 5 pages by UPSC. But if we are not considering the time taken for that filling of pages, our paper or path A will get compromised. So I had a clear cut timeline in my mind whenever I was writing the ethics test. I made sure that I start my ethics paper with the section A, because section A is where we have to think a lot. We have to deliver all those content that is studied. In case of case studies, I believe it is a bit mechanical because stakeholders are there. It's already given. We can write it without much thinking. So I used to start my paper with section A, and the timeline I set was after 1.5 hours, I have to stop writing the section A so that I can give at least 15 minutes per question for section B. So I had a set timeline. Initially, I was not able to achieve that, but with a lot of answer writing practice and time management, at the exam hall, I correctly completed the section A by 1.5 hours of examination, and I easily completed the paper.
I think that's all because you practiced a lot before mains examination. So that's another, very important message that I think all the aspirants out there will understand that section A also carries 130 marks, and that is why it must be given due importance. So, Nandana, regarding notes, a lot many people ask me, so how to make notes about ethics. So, how did you make your own notes? And generally the challenge with respect to notes preparation is, if you make notes in the first reading, we usually write down everything that is there in the book or whatever source we are referring to. So after how many iteration you yourself made notes, and did you also prepare short notes also? So please enlighten us regarding note making process of yours.
Sir, regarding note making, I was running short of time because I just had around 2 months to prepare for ethics. So what I did was I allocated 2 weeks for ethics during my prelims mains gap. And in the first week, I made sure that I attended all your classes and made lecture notes. Initially, it was a bit difficult for me because I am not a person who is comfortable in writing lecture notes. I usually take print material. But since your lectures contain so much examples and all that was not provided in the material that was there, I started taking lecture notes, which is not at all my cup of tea, but I tried it. After 1 or 2 lectures, I got a hang of it, and I wrote it in A4 sheet papers. And after mini test, after all those sessions, I used to keep updating those as per the syllabus lines. I didn't make short notes. What I did was I used to write it in point format with examples, 1 point with 1 examples. And after one iteration of notes, I highlighted all those examples, because if I know examples, I can easily generate points. So I made notes, then I highlighted the examples from that, and between the gap between that GS3 and GS4, I revised only these examples because I'll be able to generate the points from examples.
Very nice. So I think, okay, very briefly, yes, I think they've pinned the program. So very briefly, I will introduce that also. And after that, I think we'll open the session for question and answer so that they can directly ask you queries. But before I do that, let me just uh, go over that what we did last year, from this module. So as all of you can see, am I visible? Has the slide changed in the YouTube live? Yes, I think it has changed. So last year, the program itself, from the program itself, that is ethics module, we had 11 ranks under 100, that is rank 7, 16, 21, 24, 41, 46. So many students from top 100. As you can see the message from Madhav, that he was able to improve his own ethics marks by around 24. Similarly, if you can see from Aditi also, she also got 125 marks in ethics. Chidij also got 124 marks in ethics. Similarly, if you speak of many other candidates, even though they could not qualify, they get great marks. 138 marks, 131 marks, 136 marks. They are all great marks in ethics, I would say. And I was, very much touched by this message from Subrat. If you can just see this particular message, that he has got rank 449, and he had a jump of 31 marks, and that is a humongous jump. As you can imagine, what will be the impact of this jump in terms of final output. Earlier he got only 97 marks in the ethics paper, and now he scored 128 marks. So that is jump of 31 marks. And you see, you learn this, that earlier he used to leave questions worth 50 marks at least. Okay, and that was because he was not able to practice all those important themes, but now he was able to complete the paper even though he had 6 minutes left for the last case study. In that also he was able to write that case study because now he knew how to read the flow of the case study from the lessons and everything. And that is why it is important that when we follow the process wholeheartedly, that is the result that you will see. Because this is what I truly believe, that we are what we repeatedly do. Whatever you are looking at, the success of Nandana, the success of so many rankers, so great marks in ethics, 138, 130, they are great marks actually. So we look at them from episodic event, that somehow they got lucky perhaps in mains. But my dear student, it is not the case. It is all their hard work, whatever they did consistently. And then herself was speaking that how she used to practice on a daily basis, on every alternate day basis. She was writing tests, questions, PYQs, and because of that she was able to score that great marks in ethics paper. And that is why we need to look at the success from habitual perspective, not from act perspective, that one fine day in the mains we'll write best answer. That will not happen. That will always remain a dream. It is better to see it from habitual perspective. Are we writing good answers now? Are we improving on our good answers now? That is what we must look at it. And you see, this is what Nandana was also speaking, that how questions from the mini test appeared in the actual examination. This was the program she was part of, that is ethics enrichment program. And if you can just look at the question number 6 of mini test 6, impact of digital technology as reliable source of input for rational decision making is a debatable issue. And you look at the question, just digital technology replaced with AI. The application of AI as a dependable source of input for rational decision making is a debatable issue. And a similar question on AI we asked in the context of this question number 4, mini test 1. If you can see it, the growing influence of technology raises ethical concerns about privacy, data security, algorithm bias. So all these questions were discussed, written beforehand. The theme of technology she wrote at least 2 times before the actual examination. That is in mini test 1 and mini test 6. And that was, I think, the first question in the actual examination that you can see on the top right corner of your screen. that is application of AI. So because you are able to practice, similarly look at this question. Ethics encompasses several key dimensions that are crucial. The same question, you must know the framework in terms of breaking down the question, that what are the key dimensions of ethics and how it helps you in writing, how it helps you in taking great decisions, in taking moral responsible behavior. So all that part was discussed beforehand, and the framework allow you to think very, very comprehensively. Similarly, look at this question. The top right corner is the question from UPSC. It is not enough to talk about peace, one must believe in it, and etc. And you look at the sixth question in mini test 4. That is, at the international level, the bilateral relation between the most nations are governed on the policy of promoting one's own self-interest. This leads to conflict and tensions between the nation. Look at the question. How can ethical considerations help resolve such tension? Similar question was asked by UPSC. Look at the top right corner now. In the last two lines we are reading again. What are the ethical considerations of the powerful nations in today's international arena? So when you solve this question beforehand, similarly I was mentioning about the major weapon industry. The third line in the top right question from the UPSC. That is major weapon industry. So I told you that this particular theme is lifted from the case study itself. Look at the mini test number 5 and the question number 3. That is, chairman of Bharat Missile Limited is watching a program on TV. The prime minister was addressing the nation on the necessity. That is all arms. All those things, the ethical perspective on the weaponry. So all these two questions were actually merged in the actual examination hall. So when you prepare the subject, when you practice all these questions beforehand, it helps you. Similarly, look at this question. Look at the question number 4 in mini test 3 on your left screen. Wisdom lies in knowing what to reckon with and what to overlook. किस चीज को हमें देखना चाहिए, किस चीज को ओवरलुक करना चाहिए. An officer being engrossed with the periphery, ignoring the core issue before him, is no rare in the bureaucracy. Do you agree? Because of this, effective service delivery is impacted. Now I want you to look at the question that UPSC asked. Top right corner. Mindless addiction to form, ignoring the substance of the matter, resulting rendering of injustice. That is as simple as what the question number 4 is saying in mini test 3. That if you are looking at the issue, you should look at the core issue. You should not just be so consumed with the peripheral issue that you are not able to look at the core issue. And that is why it is important that we practice all these questions beforehand. Similarly, as you can see, the same question, that is question number 1E, it came in the actual essay paper as well, that nearly all men can withstand adversity. If you want to test a man's character, give him power. And you see this question that the ethics, the essay paper from UPSC, the question number 6, nearly all men can withstand adversity. So if you prepare ethics well, it will help you in essay as well. This question of AI. So the point I'm making is that all these things basically helps you if you prepare them beforehand, so that you are able to write good number of points in the actual examination hall. You are able to complete the paper in the actual examination hall. Now, for ethics, we are having two programs. Very purposefully, I have bifurcated these two batches. I want you to listen to this very carefully so that you can choose the right program for yourself. One is ethics marks improvement program. Here, we will be basically working out all the improvements in 5 phases. In phase 1, content building will be there, because as NANDANAA was also saying that many of the aspirants actually lack conceptual clarity. We just have this assumption that we know things, but knowing things is one thing, and understanding them and applying them in the actual examination hall is altogether different level of effort. And that is why conceptual clarity is important. So content building, that's what we will be doing. So here we'll progress gradually. In the first 1 month, we'll only have 2 classes per week, so that you can focus on other subjects as well. That is content building. And after that, in phase 2, we will have section A answer writing session, exactly as NANDANAA had. Daily we will have 1 mini test of 1 hour that will have PYQ themes, and that will be followed by enrichment discussion, in which I'll be telling you various framework to think in the actual examination hall, that how you can divide the question, how you can do the interlinkages and everything. In phase 3, we'll be developing frameworks to answer case study. As you saw in one of the screenshot, that he was able to complete the case study, read the case study in 6 minutes, because he knew how the flow of the case study is going to be about. So that's what happened when you prepare things properly. So here we will be covering a lot of important themes in case study: law and order based themes, that is very important; environment based themes, private sector based theme, government sector based themes, and policy type themes. So all these important things we'll be covering in the case studies only, that how in these different contexts our decision making, how our decision making should follow. So in phase 2 and phase 3, it will all be about answer writing. So basically there are 12 mini tests, 6 for section A, 6 for case study, 12 mini tests, 12 hour of answer writing. That is roughly 4 full length tests. That is huge actually, I would say. And followed by enrichment discussions. After that, we will have 2 full length tests, with of course gap in between. 2 or 3 weeks of gap will be there. So in these 2 full length tests, you will test yourself that whether now you are able to apply all those things that you have learned in the mini test in the exam like conditions or not. And in phase 5, I will have a mega revision session, so that you will be consolidating every single aspect of your preparation. Important thing, it will be a very lengthy session, mega session, that I usually have before mains examination. We will be having it on 12th of August, as you can see the timeline. So by, I would say, 26th of July, all the major classes will be over. In the first month, as you can see, it is content building, that is 3rd June to 9 July, 2 classes per week. In phase 2 and phase 3, they are continuous answer writing. As you can see, daily we are having 1 test and discussion, that is phase 2 and phase 3. And thereby by 26th July, we will be completing all the answer writing and practice on the lectures. And then in phase 4, it will all be about testing yourself, full length test. And then that is how you will be mains ready. So even though you are not appearing this year for mains, I would strongly advise you to prepare as if you are writing mains this year, so that you can maintain the intensity of preparation. And that is why this particular program I would truly suggest for you who are targeting next year. Because ethics answer writing enrichment program, there is another program. Here the major difference is that it will be very fast paced. So I would not recommend it to you if you are targeting next year. Okay, in phase 1, I will not be covering theory classes here. It is only have 5 content classes, that is only for value addition. So this particular program is basically designed for those who are writing mains this year. So it will be very much fast paced. So that is why I will advise you to join ethics marks improvement program, so that you can learn at at bit more relaxed pace, and so that you can write down everything that is important and revise them, learn them how to apply. So that is why this particular program will be more beneficial for you, those who are targeting next year. And even in that also, you will complete almost all the important classes by 26th of July, that is 1 month before the mains, and you will be mains ready. So basically you can write the ethics paper along with your friends who are writing mains this year. So that is a major difference, so that you are not confused, that I want to discuss. Ethics marks improvement program covers syllabus from basic to advanced level in 12 theory classes. Ethics answer writing enrichment program only focuses on value addition. I will not be teaching syllabus here, and it will be very fast paced. So if you're having time, then why to go for this program? I think it is more suited for those who are writing mains this year. So that is all about the programs. And now I think we'll again invite Nandana to basically answer all the queries that you are having. So please write down your queries in the chat box, so that I can address them to Nandana, and she can answer your queries. Any query that you are having, kindly write it down in the chat box. I will read it out to Nandana. She will be answering. I think there is a lag between what we are doing here and at the YouTube. So please write down your queries. I will ask them. So Navneet is asking Nandana that did you refer to any book specifically, or you relied mostly on lectures? From where your major
Uh,
source of content was? Yes.
Actually, before my prelims, I have tried to refer to one book written by a former IAS officer. I don't remember his name, but I felt that I am not able to consolidate much from the book. So eventually, I stopped reading that, and I haven't referred it to it since. After the prelims, I made this short notes from the class, and I used to repeatedly revise that. And also, I used to revise the examples I collected from newspaper and all other social media, etc. Books I haven't referred much for ethics.
Navneet, that is one thing that I will also tell you, that see, ethics is not about content. The sooner you understand this aspect, the better it will be for you to prepare this paper. Because content you can get anywhere in the market, but you see, you look at the question. Question will never ask you that write down this. You need to apply, and for that you must have conceptual clarity. So whatever source you refer, Nandana did not refer a lot of books, and that's what she said. Mostly the content was from classes, and the value addition she did from newspaper. Next important thing is I am a beginner. Which course to join? Ethics marks improvement program. Ethics answer writing enrichment program is only for those who are writing mains this year. It will be very fast paced, and clearly it is written on the website. It expects you to have prior knowledge of ethics. Okay, so that is how both the programs are different. And this marks improvement program, I will be covering syllabus from basic to advanced level. That is how both the programs are different. And of course, in marks improvement, answer writing is included, as you can see that a 5 phase study that I just discussed. Shivam is asking Nandana that how to make note for quick revision between GS papers, because two GS papers are there back to back, and how one can revise in between them. So that's what he's asking.
Actually, I haven't made these short notes. I have also heard about it from the toppers, but I felt like I didn't. First of all, I this was my first main, so I didn't had time to make my notes short. So what I did was I had my own notes. It was very huge. In case of ethics, it was less than 100 pages, but all other GS notes are huge. But what I did was I used to highlight examples, data, such value addition things only, because if you know that in case of GS and all GS papers, if you know a data example related to a topic, you can easily write a point related to that topic. So I used to revise examples only during the gap between both, so that I can value add my paper as well as go through everything in rush.
So I think that answers your query. I think one thing that I want all of you to understand, all the aspirants out there to understand. See, I heard of this some time back. I think I was watching a movie called Peaceful Warrior. It's a great movie, and all of you can watch it. So in that, the protagonist, I think he pushes the actor, into a stream that was full of water, and he pushes the actor into that stream, and he suddenly, and he started drowning in them and try to just come up to the surface. And when he came out, the mentor asked him that what is it that you were thinking while you were drowning in the stream? And he said, I was thinking nothing, because all I could think was that how I need to come up afloat, how I need to come to the surface. So my dear student, when Nandana was preparing, it was her first mains, and she was that focused that, because only 2.5 months or 3 months time is there, and she needs to get maximum out of that. And I'm telling you, that is the best, mental space wise that you can be when you want to deliver your best. So that is what you should also have. You should be so focused and nothing else is coming to your mind. Just like someone who's drowning in the water, he can think nothing except how he need to come to the surface. You should also think only in terms of examination, and that's what she was thinking. That is why she's telling you that she did not have the luxury of making those many notes and everything. She only had 3 months, and in that she did wonders because of the sheer focus she had. uh, I will be attending. I'm not at all prepared for mains. The mass improvement program, Nidhi, I will be starting from basic only. That is why we are having 12 theory classes, and that too we will have 2 classes per week for the first 1 month, so that you have all the time to cover the basics, basics of the syllabus, interlinkages, and then only you will be going for the answer writing in the July month. So you have all the time, Nidhi. You can refer to marks improvement program. How to identify probable ethics question of current affairs. Nandana, would you be taking that? Hima is asking that how to identify probable questions on ethics, especially of current affairs.
Actually, I haven't identified. Again, as I said, I didn't have much time, but I just attended the classes, and there were many contemporary themes that were covered in the classes. I remember this AI question, this climate change question. I have written it some 3, 4 times before the actual examination. So in the exam hall, sometimes I was feeling like, am I hallucinating? Because it feels like I am writing some other test before. I have seen this question so many times. So I didn't identify the contemporary themes or made notes out of it, because again I didn't have time, the luxury of time. I just had 2 weeks to complete the ethics, just 1 week to attend all the classes and make notes. So what I did was I just attended the classes, and the contemporary themes were well covered in the classes. I remember all these questions: AI, climate change, these Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, etc., being covered in the mini test as well as classes, and I used to write that. But in case of examples, I used to collect examples from newspaper. Whenever I read newspaper, and if something interesting is coming, especially something that I can use in ethics and essay, I used to collect that and paste it in a digital note. That was the only contemporary thing I have done.
In Hindi, there is one saying, "Karat karat abhyas ke jad mat ho sujan." So that's what Nana is also saying, that she practiced so much that it just felt that when she was writing actual mains paper, she was writing another mini test only, because that's what I also showed you, that the kind of questions we asked in the mini test, similar theme were repeated in the actual examination also, and that is what all of you should also prepare. That is how you should prepare actually. Okay, so another question: what is the difference between ethics module and marks improvement program? See, there are 2 module. I will just reiterate it again. One is ethics answer writing enrichment module, that is for mains appearing student. It will be fast paced. I will not be covering syllabus in that, because time between prelims and mains is bit less. So here I need to focus on answer writing, value addition only. Okay, since you have time, I will recommend you to join ethics marks improvement program batch. In that batch, I will be covering syllabus also, just like Nandana did. Nandana had same program. If you ask her also, she also had same program. That is 12 theory classes, 6 section answer writing, 6 case study, and then full length TET. So the same program Nandana joined last year. This year, I had to make another module for those who have given multiple mains, who are improving their ranks, and that is why I'm having ethics answer writing enrichment module, but it is only for those who are writing mains. It will be very, very fast paced. So I will not recommend you to go there. If you have time, why would you do all the things in in a bit fast paced perspective? Glad to talk to you, ma'am, as you are my college alumni. I think Hima is from your college only.
Actually,
You are, any other question, Hima? I would be gladly asking that. If there any other doubt, yes, Amita is asking how to plan consistent revision. What was your revision strategy?
uh, in case of revision, in case of ethics, it was between prelims and mains. As I said, I gave 2 weeks for the ethics. In the first week, I was making notes, attending lectures, etc. And in the second week, I revised that notes I have made, and I wrote all the mini tests. And after that, for ethics, I used to revise mainly through these answer writing, because every day I used to write 2 questions of GS and 2 questions of ethics. So every day when I write, and if I am not able to recollect some points, I'll go back to the notes and look at it. So that answer writing was the revision part I had in case of ethics. And after all the sectional tests were over, I believe it was around 1 month before the mains, again I allotted time for every GS paper, every subject. But at that point of time, I gave very less time to the ethics, because since I have short notes and I have revised it once, I can recollect and revise all these things in 1 or 2 days. So I think I have revised the short notes around 3-4 times before the actual mains. That was the revision I had between prelims and mains.
Jaideep Chaudhary is asking, ma'am, the main issue with the ethics is of decoding lengthy questions that are asked nowadays. So, how to decode the lengthy questions? How did you prepare for that? Jaideep Chaudhary
I
is
believe it was not the case of ethics only. In all these papers, especially the GS2 also, this year the questions were very lengthy. Around 3-4 lines were the question. So when addressing such questions, we have to ensure that we are giving emphasis to every part of the question, whether it is ethics or other GS papers. I remember writing 4 parts of a question in an IR answer in GS2. So UPSC is going for long question. Maybe they are testing the focus that we are having while reading the question. So my strategy was, I made sure that if there are 4 parts of the question, I will make 4 subheadings. After the introduction, I will make 4 subheadings. And even if I am able to write only 1 or 2 points, I will substantiate that 2 points with examples. So I made sure that there are if there are 4 part of question, 4 proper subheadings are there, and 1 or 2 points are there for every sub part. That is how I tackle long questions.
that is very important. Okay, so it is basically you need to break down the question, because it is difficult to answer it in one go. So break down the question and then try to identify the hidden dimensions so that you can answer the question very well. So another question is that Shrikar Jan asked that, ma'am, how to answer quotation based question? I think she answered that. Shrikar, can you tell any source for them? Quotation based question, any particular source you referred?
No, I haven't had any source. I believe in quotation-based questions, it's mostly our answer writing strategy that matters. As I have already said, many people consider it to be a kind of philosophical question, but I used to look at it very objectively. I will again break down the question into 2 or 3 parts and address whatever is given in that question. That's how I did that. And also in case of other questions, we can, if at all we are able to start that question or introduction with a quote or something, that will be great. But in case of quote based questions, intro is mostly the explanation of that quote, and even while explaining that, try to ensure that you are linking that quote with the syllabus topics. As I said, if their responsibility power is there, you can link it to accountability, transparency, etc., which is provided in the question paper.
I hope you understood. Quotation based question, basically they are more like mini essays. They test your linkages with the syllabus topic, because you need to decipher from which part of the syllabus you can link this particular quotation to and how you can break it down. You see, your depth of answer will always be decided in quotation based question by your conceptual understanding. Otherwise, it will be very, very difficult to answer those questions. Okay, so the how this is very interesting question, and then I think how to control anxiety in the exam hall.
I am a very anxious person. Like I am a person who overthinks, become anxious. My
And you
the
are the
time
right
gap
person.
between the prelims and mains was like a emotional roller coaster. But when it comes to examination, I am very calm. Like I just 1 week before the exam, I achieve a calm state of mind where I derive that confidence. It is from my preparation, whether it is prelims or mains. Just 1 week before the exam, I will look at the things I have done. Like I have done whatever I can, and that is what the maximum I can do. So there is no pointing in getting tensed after that. For example, in case of ethics, I was very tensed in the beginning of my preparation, because I came to sir after I wrote one mains test, one ethics test, and my mentor was literally kind of not very happy with the answers I was writing. So I wanted to somehow make that up. So I tried to objectively look at that. I joined the course. I tried to rectify the issues that I had in case of ethics paper. And after that, after the last test I have written for ethics, my mentor was also very happy regarding how I have improved my ethics answers. So if you have an issue, there may be some source of your anxiety. So in the early stages of your preparation, you should address that source of anxiety objectively. Which paper you are having issues with? What can I do to improve that? And after doing all that hard work, just before the examination, if you have done whatever you can, you will not have any regret, anxiety, etc.
So I think like a true yogi, it is important karma, So when actually, this is what I also tell many students. They come to me, they say, sir, anxiety ho rahi hai and we are not confident. See, you will never get confidence from someone's word. If I tell you will qualify, you will not qualify. If I tell you you will not qualify, you will not qualify. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Okay, it is your action, your hard work. Action beats anxiety. So as Nandana very rightly pointed out, just write down the source of your anxiety. There must be something. Okay, this is what you are not doing, this is what you are not, just list them down and start taking action on those source of anxiety, and you will feel much better. And as Nandana also said, after doing that, leave rest things to the God. Okay, because as a human being, this is all you could prepare. So now why one should be anxious? So that is how action beats anxiety. Focus on action. Talib, frameworks and structure comes with clarity. Okay, when you break down the question, 2027 attempt, it is quite far from now, Sia. So I would request that you wait till that time, because it is quite some time still. Okay, 2027. You focus on GS, and perhaps if you are in graduation, so focus on your graduation also. So that is what. Hindi medium student can join. Answer that. See, I have had Hindi medium students earlier as well, but that is up to you. You need to see that what you can learn from the lectures and how you can apply them. So that is totally up to you. In terms of speaking in the classes, mostly I will be teaching in English only, because that is what Vajiram and Ravi, an institution, the medium is English only. Okay, any other question? Any other question? If I have missed out any question, you can please copy paste it again. Many of them are saying thank you to you. If there's any other question, I will happily ask that to Nandana. Okay, I think this is where we wind up, I think. Okay then. So thank you so much, dear students, for joining. I hope you learned great deal from Nandana herself, who got great marks in ethics and great rank in first mains. It takes humongous efforts to do that. And from whatever she spoke, I think one thing is very much clear, that during those 3 months, she was very focused, and that is what all of us can learn from her, that whatever we are doing, we should be focused. And when we are focused, when we put in all the hard work, God will help us ultimately. So on the behalf of every aspirant, I want to thank you also, Nandana, for joining us and sharing your experience with all the aspirants out there. I'm sure they will learn a great deal. And thank you so much. I think this is where we say goodbye, and best wishes to all of you.
Thank you, sir.